Hello, everybody. Welcome to Everyone Deserves an Epiphany, and I am Cheryl. We are talking about week 2 of homeschool. All right. So I saw y'all at the end of week 1. So I plan on, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I plan on being here. Um, every after every week. Because as I mentioned, me and my boys, this is our first attempt at homeschool. Right now, I'm loving it. From what I hear, they're loving it. And, I just want to provide y'all updates in case you're doing it, and you want different ideas or if you're thinking about it. Okay. So the past week was world languages, effort, and why math. All right. So world languages, this was a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. So what we did with that one was I watched we all watched a world languages YouTube video where you had time to listen to the language and guess what the language was. That was a lot of fun. All of us played, even me. Okay. I didn't know because it waits a minute and I have the link, for you guys to go to, but it waits a minute before it gives you the answer. We got one right. The first one. After that, it was like, oh my God, like what world are these people living on? I've never heard these languages. Okay. So that was a lot of fun. And so after that, with the language stuff, we read an article about the Namibia tribe, okay, where they have words for the word for the color green that we don't have. Like we have green and we have variations of green, I don't know what forest green and teal or whatever, whatever our variations are. But they have more variations of green, more words for green than we do. So I gave them a wheel, which is the same wheel that was used in the article to test people if they can see the color green the way the tribe sees it. Okay. So I gave it both to them and they couldn't see it. I mean, I can't see it, everything, it all looks green. Okay. It just looks green to me. But the point of that was how words shape what we see. Okay. And if we don't have a word for something, then we can't see it or we don't notice it. Let me say it like that. We don't notice it. We saw the green tiles, but we didn't notice a difference between all the other greens, right? And that works with more than colors. Okay. So that was and we had a really great discussion about that. And our next activity for that, right, was for them I found words that were, because, we add words to the dictionary every year. Words are always being added to the dictionary and taken out, okay, because we don't use them anymore, right? So what I did, I had some words on a sheet and they had to tell me in what year do you think these words were added to the dictionary? And to help them with the year, we looked at some major things that happened. Now, it was like a 10-year span. Okay, so in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, what words were added to the dictionary, okay? So I showed them some of the things that were going on at the time, okay, when those words were added to the dictionary, like, in one, I think it was the 60s, was it the 60s? I don't know, whenever the Titanic sunk, okay? Around that time, so there was the stock market crash, there was the invention of something that, McDonald's, I showed them like in one of them, McDonald's hamburgers were 15 cents, when these words were added to the dictionary, right? So up until the 2000s and the years that they were born, okay? That was a lot of fun too. We had a lot of discussion around that. So then we moved from English languages to programming languages, because one thing that I know for sure is that when you're asked how many languages do you speak, they're not just going to be talking about, English, Spanish, French, Italian, whatever. No, they're going to be talking about programming languages, okay? Especially for what my boys want to do when they get older. So we watched another YouTube video it was the same kind of test, but it was for programming languages. And they had to look at the language and see, okay, which language is this? So that was very interesting. That was interesting too. Okay, so that was the world languages. Now, and this was throughout the week. Now, effort. So, like I mentioned, we've just started this. Okay, we're all learning together about homeschool and what it takes and what it is and all that. So, we talked about effort, and they're actually wanting to be homeschooled because they have alarm clocks, they have phones, they have many ways to get up on time. Okay, and they know they have to be downstairs at a certain time. And they set the rules, right? I asked them, what do y'all want the rules to be? What kind of rule would help you to be where you need to be when you need to be there? So we talked about, responsibility for their own learning, because I told them that with homeschool is not regular school just at your house. No, that's not what it is. Homeschool is, you don't have a teacher here, at least not with me. Okay, I don't know how y'all do it. But with me, okay, I'm not gonna be, on every 30 minutes, this is what you're gonna need to do when you write something. It's got to be 200 words. No, 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 no. No, we're not doing that over here. If they want to be homeschooled, they have to take 100. It ain't no 50-50. No, 100% responsibility for what they learn. Okay, this is not a dictatorship. They're not in the military. If they want regular school, is 2 blocks this way. Okay, that's not going to happen here. So they're going to have to be responsible for getting up on time, for participating, for adding stuff to the lesson. And so I just asked them, is that what you want to do? I know you haven't done it before. I don't know if you thought it was just going to be regular school but at home, but no. So we talked about it. I asked them again, because all I got to do, it's literally a button to press, okay, to put them back in the school system. That's all it is, okay, because all the information is still there. Everything is still there. I got to do nothing. So I let them know how easy it was, and if they wanted to do, because homeschool is not easy. Regular school, you could goof off and do all and still pass the test at the end. But no, we're not doing that over here. Okay. So I gave them a choice. Is that what you want to do? Because, I'm not going to force you to learn. I got other stuff to do. All right. I got my own life to live. I ain't gonna be forcing you to get up in the morning. No. So we talked about it, and they were like, no, we really want to do homeschool. Okay. So I was like, okay. So we had that talk, and I'm glad that they do want to do it, because I really feel like this is much more valuable for all of us, not just them, for me too, for us to be doing this together. And from the effort that they've been putting in, so that was just a little hiccup, okay? Because they really have been putting in effort. My 11-year-old created a business plan, and I wanted to cry, okay? Because it was he went to the small business agency's website and looked at how you create a business plan, and he did it. The thing is, it's like 19 PowerPoint slides. Okay, it's so good, and I was just so proud of him for doing that, because it's related to his investments and the business he wants to start and all that. And that's not even something I asked him to do. He told me he wanted to do it. Okay, so he did that. They both did presentations that were fascinating. Okay, so how I tell y'all on this channel, I define learning as the sharing of perspective and experience. And that's the same way I define teaching. Teaching and learning are defined the same way, the sharing of perspective and experience. My youngest gave a presentation on Lamborghinis. I told him just to pick something that's interesting to them that we can tie to some of the other stuff that we've been talking about, So the guy who invented Lamborghinis, he was from another country, spoke a certain language, and, and he just went through the whole history of it, how he used to make tractors and stuff. I'm telling you, I've been telling other people about what he presented in his thing, okay? I didn't know all that he shared with me. I had no idea, and it was so interesting. It really was. And we learned about that. We moved into Tesla, and because I wanted to know who designs these cars, like what are their qualifications? What do they have to, because that's what he wants to do, okay? And, one of the qualifications is, to go through school and become a mechanical engineer, which he's already said he wants to do, so he wants to be able to design cars because he really does have a passion for them. And his business plan was related to his business. It's called, what did he call it? He called it DJ's, and his name is Daniel Joseph, DJ's Car Company, something like that. DJCC, I think that's what it was, DJ's Car Company. And it was related to, you know, manufacturing and designing engines and cars. So that was really great. Now, my other son, he did an amazing presentation on the game that he's playing right now, right? Which also took us into languages because we talked about what language the game was written in and what platforms you can play it on and why can you play it on Windows, but you can't play it on a Mac. And we looked at, you know, the different, because in the beginning, if you remember last week, we talked about programming, right? And we talked about, you know, what were the requirements that prevented you from playing the game here to there. I mean, it was a great conversation. I printed out some stuff, you know, from his presentation. You know, so, and we're going to continue with that kind of stuff this week. And we visited, you know, the investments, and they went ahead and they each have a stock in Roblox right now. We did some, so the next part is math, right? So I got them some books. I don't have it over here, but I'll let y'all know what it is next time. 7th grade. I got them both 7th grade. Okay, so my oldest was going to the 7th, my youngest was going to the 6th. But they're going to start off with 7th grade, and I think by the second part of this school year, they can move to the 8th grade book because they're both geniuses, like their mother. Okay. So yeah, so there were math problems in there. So they did language. Okay, so they had to read a story and answer questions. They did great on that, very observant with that. And then they had the math part, okay, where they had to read some math problems and you know, figure them out. So again, some of the stuff I'm seeing some of the habits that they picked up when they went to school, okay? They're going to have to be broken if they're really going to be able to take responsibility for their own learning. You know, some of these habits are going to have to be broken because they don't do that in regular school, okay? So my son was like, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. So we had to talk about, I don't know the answer. And we also had to talk about the number 7 that was on the book. Because seeing that it was a 7th grade book, I mean, sent one of my sons into a tailspin. You know, you'd have thought it was a college person. I can't answer that. I'm not in 7th grade. I can't. He hadn't even cracked the book open. Okay. I said, so we had a talk about that and how, you know, I don't care if there was a 100 on the cover. Okay, that doesn't mean you don't know the material that's in here, because he knew every single thing in there. And I wouldn't have gotten it if I thought he was going to struggle. Okay, because he's not. All right. So they were both able to work through the problems. And I told him, we're not doing math to find the answer. That's not the reason why we do math in school. Okay. The reason why we do it, okay, is to practice, exercise, and strengthen your logical thinking skills. Okay, there is a logical way, and more than one way. There are several logical ways to get down to the solution to this thing. Okay, the point of it is to practice that logic. Okay, does this logic work? Okay, no. What about this logic over here? Maybe this one did work. Does a different one work too? You know, so we had to have a discussion about that. You know, stop trying to get the right answer, because just because you get the right answer doesn't mean you really got there logically or you actually understand the thing. You know, that's not. I don't care about the right answer. Talk to me about how you got there, okay? And my math genius, you know, over here, you know, he was able to do it, and he explained to me, you know, a really good way to do it. And he was like, all I do is I round it to the nearest 100 or 10 or whatever, you know, and I get that answer, right? And then I do the other thing. And he did that, and it was spot on. It was spot on. When he rounded it up, because the answers are in the back of the book. Okay, so that's why another reason I worry about no answers. Okay, but he rounded it and he was like 3 off the correct answer, but that's because he rounded it. But his logic was correct, right? Which is what I was looking for. So he was able to explain it, because I'm not the math genius in the house, okay, to explain it to me and his little brother. And his sister came over later in the day, okay, and he was telling her about ways that he does math problems, because she is, math ain't her ministry either, all right. So and that was the point, right? Because I told him, when you lift weights, you don't or get on a stepper or dance. I mean, whatever you're doing, right? The point is not so that when you're walking down the street, somebody could throw you a weight and say, okay, lift 10 pounds of weight. Like, that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it so you can, stand up straight. You're doing it so you can, walk for longer periods of time or whatever, right? And the same goes with math. You're not doing it so you can find the answer. You're doing it so you can think through issues that you're having at work. You can think through issues you're having in your family, and not just math problems, okay? Any issue that requires logical thinking. And that's not always a math problem, okay? That's a, should I take this job or that one? Should I live here or live there, right? Should I befriend this person or not? You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff in life requires logical thinking. And we have math primarily to help us practice that, All right. Okay. I think that's all I have for y'all today. I do already have some links in the description that you can go to for some of the things that I use. Oh, let me show you this last thing before we leave. The book that I lean heavily on, it's just one. It's just one. And I bought this book like 3 years ago. Because I'm in learning and development. I worked in that field for a very long time, and I'm still in the field, just in cybersecurity. But this book, when I discovered it, I was like, that's it. Like that's what it is. Okay, because of the way I define learning and the way that I see it, this book right here, really, really had an impact. Okay, let me get to the size. Y'all can see it. It's called Guerrilla Learning: How to Give Your Kids a Real Education with or Without School. It's excellent, by Grace Lewell. Okay, very, very good book. If you've never seen it, you don't have it, please go get it. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon. It could be some other places, but I know it's on Amazon. Okay, it's very good, and it gives real practical things that you can use for homeschool, or even if your kids are going to actual school, but you want to give them some stuff to do at home to like supplement what they're getting at school. Okay, which is a good idea too, if you can't homeschool. I'd say go ahead and get this book right here. It's very, very good. All right. Okay. Well, that's it. That's all I have today. And I will see y'all again back here at the end of week, 2 or 3, whichever week we're on. Okay. See y'all later. Bye.